today, I never told you this, Connor, about myself but I had like a rough and tumble upbringing.
Okay.
Right? You see me, polished, silver beard, but I grew up on the rough streets, the mean streets of Venice, California. And, I had a wild side. And as I was coming of age, Connor, my dad took me aside and he saw this in me. He saw the kind of wildness in me and he realized it had to be tamed. That if I wanted to survive, I had to learn certain techniques of survival. All right. What techniques, right?
Yeah.
So you start with the basic techniques. Reverse dragon, right? That's like where you channel your inner fire outward.
Okay.
From an unexpected direction. All right. The leaping giraffe, also useful as a battle technique. The frowning dolphin. Have you used that one?
Oh yeah, many times.
And all of this led to the apex technique, Connor. The kind of a move that's so devastating and unorthodox that if executed correctly, the eye of your opponent would be ripped out. Your opponent's shirt would be just ripped off.
Sorry.
Okay? It was a devastating move. And it's also unorthodox because it wasn't like a jab or a cross or uppercut. It was a downward motion. Okay? And this downward motion, you can imagine it like you think it's like a hammer. But no, Connor. Your hand is open the whole time. Okay? Can you picture this a little bit?
Yes.
This downward motion with your hand open. And so that was the move, but it wasn't enough just to know the move. You needed like a battle cry to go with it. You had to channel that would make this move utterly devastating to your foe. And it would be like a cat or a puma, right?
Yes.
So we're going to practice this because this is what we're going to talk about today, right? I'll show you what it looked like. Right? Try it. That's what we're talking about today. He's not going to try it yet because he's not ready. But today we're going to talk about this move that my father taught me, the apex move. Can you guess its name?
No.
OpenClaw.
Oh my! I didn't see it coming.
Oh, you did not?
Time.
No, it's real. OpenClaw. And every time we talk about OpenClaw, this technique of battle, which is now relevant to This Week in AI, we're going to do the no?
I'm sure I'll do it.
You don't seem willing yet.
I think I'm on board.
Okay, so this is This Week in AI. We're talking about OpenClaw. OpenClaw is, as I noted earlier, a technique in battle that will help men overcome their challenges in life. But it's also a tool in the AI world. Yeah. And it is a confusing sort of, maybe it's not confusing, but it's a little different from what you think about from like ChatGPT or Claude. So let's start with the basics.
Sure.
All right. I'm Avi. Welcome to This Week in AI. We've got Connor with us.
Nice to meet you.
What is OpenClaw?
OpenClaw is really just a very intelligent way to kind of guide these LLM like Claude or Gemini or OpenAI. And guide it and kind of put it in this agent that can kind of accomplish longer scale tasks.
Okay. So the thing, got it. So longer scale tasks, I want to pick up on that. But the thing that I think was interesting, the first thing that stood out to me is you said guide it.
Yeah.
What do you mean guide these LLMs?
Yeah, something like memory where it can kind of remember the overarching goal it's trying to accomplish and take steps and maybe build a team to accomplish a more complicated goal and use various LLMs in order to do that.
Oh, I see. Okay, so guide, longer term, is another way to think about what OpenClaw is sort of like a framework.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Is this framework, does it require a specific LLM or does it not matter?
No, it doesn't matter. It plays with open source. Where it's an open source LLM or some of the top ones from private companies. Like you said, it's a framework.
Okay.
So it's something to to give it that agent that we've all been talking about.
Yeah.
It's the first kind of real agent to be able to accomplish a longer term goal.
Oh, got it. Okay, yeah. Let's do that now then. Let's talk about the difference between like agentic AI, which is been emerging, and probably what most people are familiar with is like the chat AI. So how is agentic AI different from just like a chat AI?
Yeah. So when you're looking at agents versus like OpenClaw, the chat is like a question and an answer, right?
Oh, yeah.
The first kind of version I saw of an agent was from OpenAI. They had a thing called deep research.
Uh-huh.
You give it a harder question, but you want real researched information, not just a spit out answer. And it spun up an agent to go out into the internet and search hundreds of articles, to come back, to research and look over them, and then combine that. And that maybe took 20 minutes. So it was not a just one question instant answer, but the agent is able to go deeper and get more information.
Okay, so it's more thorough.
More thorough.
And it's not just a chat though; it can actually perform tasks for you.
Yeah. Given the right permissions,
okay,
it can read emails, it can create code, it can run code.
Okay,
it can do many things.
Okay, so a framework that an agentic framework that can perform tasks for you, given what permissions you allow it, different from just like a chat. Okay, so we're all aware of the big players out there. We'll talk about the arms race towards the end. We're aware of Anthropic. We're aware of OpenAI. Who's this big player behind OpenClaw?
OpenClaw.
Yeah,
OpenClaw was made by Peter Steinberg.
Okay.
And it's, like you said, this framework. It was open sourced, and it really exploded.
Okay.
I mean, within the first week, it was over 100,000 GitHub stars, which is massive for an open source project. And it really gained traction when people could get something like a Mac Mini to run it locally themselves.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah. And, we had this long introduction about my childhood, but I think the another way of thinking about OpenClaw is it sounds like OpenClaw.
Yeah.
Right? It sounds similar. And so I think OpenClaw is open source.
Yes.
Is it open source? So what does that mean versus these other companies?
Open source just means that the code is available for you to go and look up and copy yourself.
Okay.
And to run yourself. So OpenAI is not going to be releasing their model weights for their frontier model.
Right.
Neither is Gemini or Anthropic. But these open source models and projects are really to build this community with people, not this one company trying to sell you a product.
Right. So like similar to the browser wars way back in the day where you had like Internet Explorer and then you had, I forget the other one. Then you had something like Firefox. Mm-hmm. Was Firefox, is that similar to Firefox was open source, wasn't it?
I don't remember, but
okay, yeah. So Connor came of age when the browser wars were done.
Yes.
But in the early days of the browser wars, there was a bunch of open source browsers. If I remember correctly, Firefox was one. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But if you are wrong, you know what that person's going to get.
What?
Okay, so it's open source, so you can get it. You don't have to pay for it.
Correct.
When we think about AI in the chat mode, it's a browser. In this agentic framework mode, how can someone who's curious run OpenClaw?
Yeah, so there's a few various ways. The most popular, you've probably seen it, is running it on a Mac Mini. The reason is you want a device that's contained, doesn't have other personal information on it or sensitive information. And so you buy a Mac Mini for that instance where you put OpenClaw in that Mac Mini and you tell it, hey, this is your computer. You can do anything you want in here and you can run 24/7. And you can send me iMessages because you're in the Apple ecosystem is the main reason why people use Mac Mini. And then you can do tasks and things that I assign to you. So you kind of give it a home and it lives in that Mac Mini.
Right. And so if you don't give it a home distinct from your personal computer, there's some risks involved with I just have my laptop, I'm going to run OpenClaw there. What are some of the risks at stake there?
Yeah, so because of the popularity of the project, a lot of people have written malicious extensions and things from ClawHub, which is a place for it to get other extensions, basically skills like the App Store. and they put malicious code in their little helpful thing. Your OpenClaw sees that. You install it so it can have that skill. And then now it has access to your home network because it's running at home. It has access to your personal computer because you put it on there instead of its own machine. And maybe it gets your personal information, identity theft, and all those issues.
Yeah, and that's sort of the risk of an open environment, is that there are going to be some malicious players out there. So you have to factor that in yourself when you're setting this up. You said something else I thought was really interesting. You talked about ClawHub, which I'm going to resist joking about. But you talked about skills.
Yeah.
So say you're like, okay, I've got this set up. I have it on my Mac Mini at home, and again, you want to put it in its own sandbox, so it can't access any of your personal data. It can't access any of your passwords. That's why it's on the Mac Mini. You've got it on the Mac Mini. You've got it set up, and you've chosen an LLM. Say you're like, oh, I want to use a Claude API, for instance, right? But maybe there's some skills that you don't know how to do. What does ClawHub offer people who are just getting set up and working with the tool?
Yeah, I mean, it offers various skills from personal assistant, email management, and anything else you can imagine an open source agent could do. Somebody's made an extension for that, a skill in ClawHub for you to add to your OpenClaw agent.
Okay, yes, you could go to ClawHub, search the skill, read the reviews of the skill.
Yeah, definitely.
Get some notion of if the skill is malicious or not, and then download it, install it in your environment. So you have it in your environment. You're downloading these skills. These skills do all these fun things for you. It can respond to calendar alerts. It can look at your calendar and say, oh, I had this meeting coming up. It can send you notes to prepare for that calendar, right? Oh, it can anticipate you, like it do some assistant type tasks.
Definitely.
Okay, it's a tinkerer's dream, right? That's what we're talking about, right? And tinkerers, the tinkering community is long and has played with all these techs for a while. So in that sense, it seems good at home. Is there a use case for OpenClaw in a business environment?
I think the direction of agents and agentic AI is definitely going to make its way into businesses. 100%. I think the one risk right now is because the primary agent AI out there is OpenClaw, which is an open source one with some security issues. You can't just go and put it in your business network and let it kind of run around, because it's going to be able to grab maybe tokens and private information, customer information. If you're working in medical fields, HIPAA compliance, there's a lot of red flags to be aware of. Right. But it's so powerful that you can expect these big companies to take notice immediately, and they're obviously working on ways to get that inside of a business environment securely. Yeah, that's right. And that's sort of like the pathway of the development. This dude on his own, Peter, comes up with this tool. It's amazing. All these tinkerers are early adopters, and at this juncture, we do not recommend this in your business environment. It's a total risk. You're putting all your data at risk. No, but as AI evolves, we will see some of these frameworks built for enterprises. Yes. We kind of are already. How this affects the AI arms race. I always think of this as an arms race because all of these big companies are competing to, if we want to call it AGI or some sort of dominance. I don't know if it's good if you ever reach like a single AI. I think it's better if we have many flourishing AIs. Competition always. How does OpenClaw fit into our AI arms race? Are there any players at stake? Where are we with that? The nice part about OpenClaw being an open source project is it's not necessarily one AI is going to rule them all. Yeah. Right. It's more so, like you said, a framework for these companies to start working towards this agent that can do these broader, harder tasks. Go ahead and manage my personal calendar. It's not a very specific detail of if this happens, then this happens. It's more of I want you to kind of overarchingly do this task and figure out the best way to do that. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And like the way what you just described is like an Outlook rule, right? An Outlook rule is like, if this, then this. Yes. And what you're saying is like these agentic tasks are, for lack of a better word, more intuitive, right? They're not just like,
if this, then this. They want a full scope of what your calendar looks like. They want a sense of all your meetings, what you like in meetings, what you like to have prepared for meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But in terms of the arm race, in terms of Anthropic versus OpenAI, this Peter gentleman who developed OpenClaw, where is he now?
Well, he got hired by OpenAI.
Okay.
They snapped him up, snatched him up.
Okay.
So it's definitely, I would say maybe an OpenAI has an advantage in having the guy that thought of, this smart agent framework. But I definitely think there's a lot of very smart people at all three of the top companies. I guess Grok, so four.
Right.
That you're going to see something like this come out from a lot of these major companies, I would say, in the next 3 months, probably.
Peter Steinberg got hired by OpenAI. This does not mean that OpenClaw is part of OpenAI. OpenClaw still remains open source. And so, and I think we've already seen a version of an agentic AI from Anthropic. Is Claude Code kind of a version of this?
Yeah, I would say Claude Code is more for coding in the development space. It does a very good job of autonomously in an agent way going through code and looking for changes, vulnerabilities, or if you want to make updates. It's very specifically into coding. So that's where Claude Code is different from something like OpenClaw, because it's not an open framework for any sort of agent task. It's very specifically coding agents.
Okay. Yeah. So Claude Code specifically for coding. OpenClaw can do coding, but not limited to coding.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Okay. Cool. So I think we've covered most of the things. One thing I want to circle back on is last week we talked about how this arms race between these AI companies is driving up the prices for hardware, memory, RAM. Computers are expensive. You were talking earlier about how folks were getting Mac Minis and running this on their own. What if you don't want to invest in a Mac Mini, but you still want to try this out, but you want it in its own sandbox, in its own environment? Are there other options for that?
Yeah, so there's things called Cloud VPS, which is a virtual private server. And there's a lot of websites that are coming up with ways to host these OpenClaw agents, not just Claude specifically, but OpenClaw agents, and basically spin up your little virtual machine in a cloud server and put the OpenClaw in that virtual server.
Oh, got it. And you have a friend who's people who've tested this out. Is that right? What is it like for them so far?
Yeah, there's a lot of websites that are really trying to make that process of spinning up your own little OpenClaw agent easier. Because right now, initially it was you got to go and get the open source project, clone the repository yourself, set up VS Code, get that running. Now they're trying to make it like a one-click. I want an OpenClaw agent.
Straight from the provider of the virtual server.
Correct.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So that's where it's definitely heading for ease of use, and those are somewhere around $20 a month. There's things like Hostinger. One of my friends is working on a open project for it's called Clawhq.dev. And we can link it below for the various places that people have that one click kind of setup.
Cool. Okay, yeah. This was our episode on OpenClaw. Maybe we'll do other ones. If you're a home user who's tinkering with OpenClaw and you're wondering about setup and you're wondering about should I use what's a good provider for a virtual server, or you're thinking about Mac Mini specs, hit us up. You can drop in the comments. Connor will be happy to give you suggestions. If you're a business user and you've deployed OpenClaw, call us right away so we can get OpenClaw out of your environment.
Correct.
But if you're a business user who's used AI on a small scale for chatting and you don't really know how it can help your business processes, that is specifically what we can assist you with, what Connor does every day. Talks to business owners, learns processes, figures out what AI tools can be built to assist with those processes.
Definitely.
Contact us for that. All of our info is where it will be. And lastly, and most importantly, Connor, those of you who watch this video and want to unlock the secrets of OpenClaw, call me now. 949-661-9696.